Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.
Welcome to the Selling from the Stage workshop. We will have 4 sessions today, so it will be like 1 hour and 15 minutes sessions, then 15 minutes break, then 1 hour and 15 minutes, then about half an hour, 45 minutes break. And I promise to close by 4 o'clock. However, if you want to stay a little bit longer, I'm here. The way it works, as whoever used to be here in the previous workshops, is we do have a workbook, and all the introduction and everything will get through the system, which is part of how we do it. So if you would mind. Okay. So
Where's your purse?
when she comes. So inside this workbook, you start first. There's Win Your Brand pens, so please feel free to pick up one of our pens as souvenir if you don't have one. I know many people around the table, they got so many. So we start first. If you go to number 1 and just write your name information. So just make sure this workbook is actually. If you lost the workbook, somebody will give it back to you. And please just follow with me on each module. Okay, so just to get to know you as a group here. So who here has a seminar or a workshop where he recruit clients through? Okay, and I know Marcel has as well. Who here is doing presentations on a regular basis, like 1 presentation a month, 1 presentation a quarter? Okay. Who here wants, do all of you here understand or would like to see clients coming through these presentations? Yes. Okay. So is there any money in presentations?
Future dollars.
How you can say there is future dollars in the presentation?
By recruiting during the ceremony.
By recruiting. So in the presentation itself, is there any value or any money you can make on the presentation itself?
No, information.
It's just information.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of us agree on this principle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there is no money in presenting. So where is the money is?
People signing up for.
So for what people sign up for. That's right. So what I will explain today, it might be a little bit different concept for people, because many of us may not be able to understand or really work with these particular concepts. But if we start first with the fact that the first line in the rules, there is no money in presentations. So if you can take your pen and just fill the space that there is no money in presentation. Okay? So yeah, and I recommend you to use the workbook. I can, if somebody needs blank ones later on, I can provide you. So just interact with the workbook, because it will be an interesting journey as well. So where is the money?
The value in the upsell.
In the value in the upsell, or in the business around the presentation. That's right. So all the money is in the business around the presentation. So the presentation itself has no money. There are some concepts, or some individuals will say that we will get money by selling the presentation or selling like $50 workshop or $20 workshop but this is not the money we talk about. If you talk about significant amount of dollars, we have to understand that the money is in the business around the presentation. So where we teach the audience about our business. If there is no money in presentation and all the money is around the presentation, so where should we teach our audience about the business?
In the presentation?
Perfect. So within the context of the presentation, all what you must do is to teach people how is your business running. And this has to be covered by the information you have. So I understand many of us will be following their own mindset. They say, no. I wanted them to learn about this particular topic. I wanted them to learn about change management, about how to balance their lifestyle with their personal style. I wanted them to learn about technology. I wanted them to learn about psyche or energy healing or whatever. It's great you would like to do that. But if you want to get them to sign up, what they need to know
The benefits they get.
is about your business. It's not about the information. Do you agree? If you don't agree, let's just discuss it.
Well, I think that my experience, and I'm old, but it's always around uncovering the pain points and making them aware that there are things that can be done about those pain points to create the interest to proceed further.
So if I want you to buy my service,
Mm-hmm.
it's true I want to show you the pain point. I want to make you experience the pain point. However, I don't like the statement saying there are things can be done. I would love to see I am the only one who can fix these points. How will I do you agree on that?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I must come with a mindset to say that I am the only one, or I am the best
Best option.
option on the table to offer you this service. How can I do that? By explaining to them about my business, by articulating about how similar jobs I did, which means I need testimonials.
Yeah.
I need them to see how I impact other people's life.
Sure.
Does this make sense? Does everybody around this table understand and agree on that? Okay, if you don't agree, you will not be kicked out. But if you don't agree, we have to make sure. Why? Because if you don't agree, it's a point of discussion. Okay? So audience can learn about my business from my presentation.
Okay.
Okay? That's right. So the audience must learn about your business, not your information or knowledge. That's right. And there is a difference between I say I can do this and I say I will do this for that much dollars. And here are the referral for people how they got advantage of using my business before. Do you agree on these concepts?
Well,
Okay.
my mind's open.
Okay. Now, so what do you like to see at the end of the presentation? So if you have a presentation for 20 minutes, what do you like to see at the end of the 20 minutes?
Interest to further.
How you interest further, which is a good point. How you can get them to show this interest further?
It's got to be an action step.
So this is an action step, that's right? So action step. So what is the possible actions?
Sign up.
Sign up for what?
A program offered with
So,
the presentation.
One option is to sign up for a program. What are the other options? Is it by not equivalent to sign up?
Doesn't need to be.
Okay. By. What else?
Future relationship.
Future relationship. How you articulate or how you execute on expression of interest for a future relationship.
Well, you identify the benefits or the attributes that your program can deliver to the business.
And then
And then your next step is to set up a further presentation to nail down the deal.
okay, so in further presentation is called enrollment role.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Or somebody can call it engagement. So they can engage in a further discussion. What else can be the outcome of my presentation?
They can thank you very much.
And this is what we don't like.
Yeah.
Like, thank you very much, this is why we don't like.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, anybody comes through your presentation, they will buy sometime in the future. Everybody came through my presentation, they bought. And the one who did not buy, they still in a conversation with me. And I'm sure one time, maybe hopefully before infinity comes, they will buy. That's right. So you have to figure out what is the best outcome you would like to achieve from your presentation. If you come through presentations, you must understand which one of those are the ones which you need to achieve by the end of the presentation. Okay? So at the last sentence you say, within the end of my presentation, audience will, and you need to figure out what they want to do and how they will. Okay? Does it make sense? If it stopped to make sense to anybody, please initiate a conversation and we will talk about it, okay? So before we change or before we proceed to, yes sir.
Yeah, I have one question. I think I missed one of the lines to fill out. Presenting on the stage is blank to blank. I think that one I missed filling.
Your third blanks under.
Okay, so presenting on the stage is, we answer it here because we said we want to present to sell at the end, right? So presenting on the stage is the way to sell my service.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Okay? So I usually in these events we have new faces. We have people in our program and people who comes in specific presentations now from between time to time. So we start first to know who are you. So the first thing is, let's get to know you. So if I want to say, if you want to stand and say, I am what? So on page number 3, you start to say, I am. Can you articulate who you are to be able to provide this presentation? And just give it like 1 minute, just write down 1 or 2 sentences, who you are and what you do. And when you are ready, anybody's ready, we can share. We need just 2 shares so we can finish on time. Okay. Can we, yes, sir?
I I'm a discouraged property investor and foreclosure expert who is embarrassed by the amount of taxes I overpay.
Okay. Good. Any more shares? One more share, please. Okay.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Just scoot around.
As long as I know it's there, we're all good, right? Never know if this is
Okay, so can we have other shares as well? Somebody else to share?
Sure. I am experienced in successfully assisting organizations to prepare, build, and execute strategic planning process.
Okay. Let's go for a second to the what is your presentation for? So my presentation is for what?
To get to know you.
Just write it down. If it's to get to know you, get to know you. So if you are who you are, and this is my presentation. So the presentation will be for what? Is for what? You must focus on one topic where this presentation will be about. Make sense?
Yep, so my presentation would be to highlight elevator technology and current options available.
Okay. So my goal will be, in number 3,
Showcase how our simple technology can save you time, expenses, and I had
okay. Is there anybody else has different goal for the presentation?
Crap, I thought we were selling number 1.
No, we're in number 2. And then
I
we're
just jumped to
shifting.
3 as well.
And we're shifting to number
Just
3.
thought
Okay.
that as well.
This is to know you. This is what you do. This is not, there is nothing new here. This is what you do. You are who you are. This is my presentation for, and my goal is. So can anybody has a different goal than teaching us about how elevators are great?
Is the goal?
This is the goal of your presentation. I'm not giving you any new information. This is to know you.
Right.
So your current presentation, and I know you do lots of presentations. So your current goal for your presentation is what?
So for my goal for any presentation is to upsell to somebody else.
Just write it down. Thank you.
Is that
Yeah,
appropriate?
yeah. Because we, in page number 2, talk about there is no money in presentation. Talked about you need to sell through the presentation, and we have someone still wants to teach us how to elevator works.
Well, wait a second. So I'm getting confused on
Sure.
the point of view that I'm coming from here. Is this just to articulate the different points to be made, or is this the way to articulate to the audience? Because if I'm going to articulate to the audience what my goal of my presentation is going to be, it's going to be what he said.
No, this is not for articulation to the audience. This is a diagnosis what you do, what you personally do.
Right.
So your presentation is for what topic, and your goal is what of this
So
presentation,
my goal would be similar to my mission statement then,
which is
to be able to change the accounting view that business
okay.
owners have.
So just write it down, and then I will show you where the shift has to happen. Okay. Moving to number 4, what makes my presentation great? So what makes your presentation great? Can somebody share with me? Especially people who went up to, oh yeah, yeah. Yes, sir.
So many things.
Okay.
Number 1, the content. There should be quality in what you are talking about.
What
Number
else?
two- Number two, yourself.
Okay.
That you should be a good speaker and you have rhetorical tools to pass what you are trying to pass.
Okay.
And then you should be like the content should be related to the audience that you are addressing.
Okay. Anybody believe there is any other things which will make the presentation great?
Well, I think if I succeed to enroll people,
That's the goal.
So no matter how your content is great or bad, no matter how yourself is great speaker or not, no matter it's related to the audience or not, you must enroll people. That's it.
What do you mean by enroll people?
Getting people to the next level after the presentation. So a presentation, you weren't here in the beginning, so the presentation is not a presentation for information. A presentation is a tool to sell future engagement, or to sell from the stage right away with money, or to get them to sign up to a service, or to get them to continue and refer you somewhere else. So some people here works in an area where they have to deal with dealers or customers or agencies to provide them. So what makes the presentation great is the presentation has to enroll people. That's it. People don't care about the quality of information, because the content of the presentation, there is no scale. There is no one can say it's a good presentation or not. There is no measure. Somebody can talk about law of transformation. Somebody else can give different talks. No one can say which one is better than the other one. Okay? We move to the fifth level. We want to know what is your current speaking level. So how often do you speak? Which I asked in the very beginning, so you may want to skip this question. How often do you speak? And how often do you plan to speak? This will be what's the answer for number 5. Coming back to my audience, who are your audience? Can you just write down who are your audience? And as I said, to maximize the use of this particular workshop, you need to focus down on what exactly audience you wanna track. So, who are your possible audience? And when you're done, I would love to have some discussion around that. So, do you want to share?
Sure. My audiences are, I have 2 points, looking for alternatives to conventional approach to dealing with emotional issues, and they have limiting beliefs that slow or stop their ability to enjoy life and thrive.
Okay, great. Do you wanna share with us?
I didn't go as deep as that, because I'm not at the presentation stage, but, yet. My audience is women who face challenges to live on purpose.
Great. Some more. I'm not sure. Can you share us?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Service-oriented small businesses who are overwhelmed with how to grow.
Okay. Great. Ned, do you wanna share?
I don't have
Okay,
any.
no problem.
Okay.
No problem.
No, I don't have any customers.
No problem.
But they should be my future customers, or they might.
Okay. So let's just stop here and evaluate the following concept. All of us are selling some kind of product, right? So all of us will have what we call it paying customers. So these are customers who will pay us money. So who will get these presentations or this particular seminar or webinar or whatever you want to say in a group? And the group here is defined to be 3 or more. So the minute you start to talk to 3 or more, you are not in one-on-one enrollment anymore. You are into a presentation mode. For a presentation mode, do I have to have PowerPoint presentation slides? Do I have to have flip chart?
Have to?
I do have Starbucks napkins and Tim Horton napkins. Because I get 3 to 5 people in a Starbucks or a Tim Horton and we start to talk about something and then I try to switch to what my business is doing and I have no paper. I walk in without no paper and I go grab some napkins and I use them. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the presentation, people will take photos of my napkins. So when you try to understand what do you mean selling from the stage or presenting to others, the minute you have 3 or more, you have to be in this mode. You have to understand this mode. Okay? So if I want to understand where is my audience will fit, if this is the sales cycle, I do have at certain point customers are paying me money. What is the stage before customers to pay me money?
Acceptance.
How you define the stage is not acceptance.
Buying. They must decide to buy your product.
How they will decide to buy your product?
Should be interested in it and have the purchasing power to do that.
Okay.
Approval.
Qualified?
And qualify. You see all these words? We want to just make it in a simple model. And the model will call here to be clients. So in the model I will explain, I will show you a few things here and there. And we want to decide first where the presentation will be. So before somebody coming to pay me money, they can be a client. How you can create client base? Sometimes by joining part of your program, sometimes by just showing them sheets or product sheets or enough information to educate them inside what you do so they make a decision to come to buy your product. Does it make sense to everybody? Does it make sense to everybody? Where I can withdraw clients? Where the clients can come from? So there is a stage before clients, and the stage we call it prospects. And the prospects will be led by the lead will become before prospects. And before that, they will become as audience or targeted audience, and this will come from the general. After the customer will achieve my service, it can be a referred customers or a returned customers or a retired customers. And I always called retired customers because a customer of mine did not have a communication with me for 3 years. I do have actually a customer after 15 years. I was able to put them again into the funnel. I'm not going today to explain this in great details because we do have this in our workshops and other material we have around this program. However, all of you understand this model and agree on it. You may also consider that some of these stages can be combined. So for example, if I'm selling a book, my customer and the client will be the same, because people cannot read the book before they buy it. Okay, if I'm selling smaller product, people has to pay before they get. Sometimes if I go to events and I recruit people automatically from audience to be customers, it's okay too. However, 80% of customers who will come to pay you in the information product world, they come in this way. If I am a business coach dealing with individuals, not with companies, sometimes I have to offer free sessions. Sometimes I have to offer invited sessions. Sometimes I have to offer discounted offer to create experience to these clients. But I have to be careful that when I do that, I have also to implant or to precede that these people can be transferred to paying clients. Do you agree? Sometimes you go into a show, and the show will have good audience, and you will invite individuals to come to you, which will be leads. And then these individuals will come at your booth and will start to have dialogue. That's right. The minute they come, they will become prospects. So in these scenarios, you have to understand each one of these levels need to have a specific amount of information and a specific level of insights. Which one need to have the deepest insight of your business? It will be here. Because here is when people will buy your service. Does it make sense? In particular for people who see this for the first time, because there are many people here have been actually through these particular courses, which talk about how we can address people in different areas. One more piece of information for you is, from information perspective, the material are different. What is the most common material for a paying customer among all businesses?
I don't understand the question.
What is the most common piece of paper you will give it to a paid customer among all businesses?
Receipts.
Yes, invoice,
Yeah.
or invoice over receipt. That's right. What you will get, what you will give to somebody as in a prospect in this level. Will you give him invoice? What will happen if you give somebody in this level? It will be scared away. That's right. Usually your website has to be in this area where it doesn't have buy now, it doesn't have sign up now, because the website is an area where people need to be more into this area to talk to you. And this model is flexible. It doesn't have to be 9 stages as it is. However, for some of the businesses we do, it actually have more. The second question will be is how much product you sell. Is it $100 level product? Is it a $500 level product? $1,000 level product? $5,000 level product? Or 10,000 plus dollar level products? What value of product you sell?
10K.
So if you sell 10K, which is great, what is the total cost? What is the total value of your customers to you?
Well, my particular business, usually they become repeat customers going forward, so that would be one service there, but there'd be add-on services.
So you must understand the total value of your customers, because if you sell something at 10K, this customer should value between 50 to a couple of $100,000.
Some do, yeah.
Okay, And we always have the rule of sum, you know, the rule is 80-20, that's right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't do, it will be 20 success, okay? If they do, it will be 80% of them. So if you have a 10K plus clients, usually you have more stages here.
Yes.
That's right?
Yeah.
But if I am selling you a $25 product, I will take you from here to here. That's right?
It has to be that.
It has to be that way.
Yeah.
All of you understand this concept? Any questions?
I don't understand the value of your customer, because it doesn't matter if it's a $25,000 or $100,000 item. You better value that interaction the same.
I'm not talking about value of the interaction. I'm talking about each customer you bring into the table.
How long will they stay with you?
How much money you will do from them.
How long will they stay with you? So let's say your elevators is $10,000 a year, right? Will they stay with you
No,
3.5
but if I'm
years?
selling a widget at $2, then that $2 has the same value as my $100,000.
No, but that person will keep coming at you again. Will
What's
buy
the
the next
lifetime?
one at you and
Or
the
will
next
they
one.
jump ship?
So
and
over the
go
life
to-
of that customer is always coming to you.
What's the lifetime
Yeah.
value, financial
So-
value of that, the lifetime financial value of that customer?
How much money you can make of this customer in the next 10 years?
Yeah.
If you answer this question correctly, you will find yourself, you produce warranty, you produce post customer surveys, you will produce loyalty Christmas parties.
But I could do that with a $5 widget as well, and I'm just going to sell them. Maybe I sell them 1,000 of them. I'm having a hard time.
It's not the value of what you sell. It's what the
Relationship.
customer value of that customer to you over the life. So if the customer opens his wallet up for $10,
Right, but so okay, so I don't understand how.
the first
Yeah, the difference
transaction
for-
is $10. First transaction is $10.
Mhm.
A year later, he'll come back and buy you a $100 item from you. Then 2 years later, he'll buy you a $300 item from you. The first transaction is $10, but you know that if it's a customer that you're selling something to, the lifetime value would be all of that potentials added together to you, and you need to know what that is. It's easier for somebody who's annual coaching programs or strategic business planning programs. Easier, harder for elevators because they might do a one elevator and that's it, then they die, kind of thing. But it's a
But
different thing for you.
the point we want to try here, the point we want to drive here is, if you are in the $10,000 plus business, you need to, you may have to have all of these stages very well aligned. If you are in the $25 business, you may have 1, 2, 3 stages only, because it takes less time for people to make a decision. So if I ask each one of you to put on the table now $1, you know what everybody will say? I don't have a dollar bill, because Canada stopped doing dollar bills, that's right? But if I ask each one of you to write me a check for $5,000, they have to ask their spouse, their business partner. So if you understand these concepts, you need to apply them to your business. Does it make sense?
Sure.
Okay, so if it does make
Makes
sense,
sense.
if it does make sense, why you have this discussion, guys? You should know this. Anyway.
Makes sense now.
Anyway, this is something you need to consider very. So, for me, for example, for me, I have my new book. So for my new book, I do have my book announcement. I do have the purchase on the back because it's $25. That's right. And there are, in the way, there are 2 pieces of information inside. When people read this, they'll be, well, yeah, $20, $25, yeah, we can do this, right? However, if I want to get somebody to join my $50,000 program or my $20,000 program, they have to come through a different stages. Nobody will pay you $20,000, $50,000, even if you consider buying a BMW. People will go try it a few times, that's right? They even give you a free road test. That's right. On Honda Civic, which is the lowest car in the market at a certain point, you still can go for a road test.
Yeah.
That's right. How many of you here give a road test to their services? Okay. Even the elevator guy is acquired to design and install a demo unit.
I'm working.
You see?
Right.
So you must
$20,000.
understand this concept, these layers, these structures. Now, where is the presentation will be?
I'm sorry?
Where is the presentation? Which stage your presentation will be?
From A to C.
From A to C in this area.
Yeah.
That's right?
Yeah.
So the presentation covers from A to C.
N plus, yeah.
That's right. When you provide a training workshop, it's different story. A training workshop, you cannot sell in it too much. But in this area, you need to articulate more about the value of your business, what you do, and what you can achieve with it. All of us agree on this principle? Does it make sense? Okay. Okay, so I will skip section 6 because not many of us here have a presentation already, but here is the idea was to basically, people who are not trained, they go through section 6 to 6.6 and talk about what's my opening, what's my close, but I will just jump to section 7 right away because not many of you here already have a presentation in place. So, to maximize the value of this particular it's a 5 hours interaction and 1 hour break within 6 hours time frame, and I only believe in people walking away with something to apply in their business right away. So you have to be focused on what exactly you want to do as your next presentation. If you have a business right now, great, try to consider what the presentation will be and for which audience. And if you don't have one, try to visualize what's your next product. In standing on the stage, there are 3 levels or 3 different types of presentations we do know it works. One of them is called selling from the stage. The second one is speak to sell. And the third one is enrollment from the stage or enroll from the stage.
Can you explain the difference?
The whole 15-minute discussion we'll talk about the difference. Yes, sir.
Just, sorry, if I missed this. In the beginning. Can you define what means to enroll people? Do you mean to convert them from a prospect to customer?
Enroll them means, okay, so let's just talk about enrollment models. So the steps will be, step number 1 is you will provide a presentation. And then you will ask people to connect with you on one-on-one or sign up for your next engagement. So if I end up my presentation and say, if each one of you wants to sign up for my program, I am offering a strategy discussion or what you call it? A strategic session or a discovery session?
Discovery would be the best term.
Okay. If I offer each one of you a discovery session at the end of my presentation, then I will have to have one-on-one discussion. And the selling skills in one-on-one discussions are completely different than anything else. Overcoming objections, all of this stuff are completely different. Do you agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on how to enroll?
Enrollment, you define it as the conversion. You convert the audience or the possible customer to a buyer, right?
You don't convert. You want to move them to a second level.
If you want to put it that way, but I mean, okay.
Because selling from the stage means what? Selling from the stage means I have a buy form. So a selling form or a selling buying form, and people will put their credit card
like your book
before the end of the presentation. So I come and say, "Hi guys, all of you visualize the value. You wanna go to the next level?" You said yes. Yes. Here, I have the signing sheet. Before you leave, you sign and you put your credit card at the end. And by the way, for people who did not, who was not part of my program and sign up on this particular training, so this particular example, this sheet usually will go at the end of my seminars, and people will sign up. and will buy before they leave. They buy before they leave. Any investor forums, any investment program where you buy before you leave. This is what we call it selling from the stage. People are signing up, putting their credit card number on forms. It doesn't matter, it's $17 or like what we sold, $60,000 year program. It doesn't matter. Each one of these is called selling from the stage. The only difference between this one and this one is will need more training to be able to overcome all the objections. But I will share with you something which can sell easily between $5,000 to $20,000 easily. Okay? Do you agree on this model? Any more discussions? I want to learn from you guys. If you want to discuss any of this model more.
So when you talk about selling from the stage, if you just want them to go onto your next program, like from a prospect to a client, you're really talking about enrollment.
Yep.
In that case, when there's actual dollars involved, that's selling.
Yep.
That's the distinction we're making.
Yes. Moreover, if you wanna get them to the next stage for $7,
Yeah.
you're selling. You are not enrolling.
No, because it's $1.
Yeah. Enrolling means we will meet for a strategic session. I'm giving you a complimentary strategic
Right,
session.
right.
So it's about the flow of money.
It's about the
Selling
flow
from-
of money.
Selling from the stage means there is a transaction, financial transaction.
Yes.
Enrollment is not.
It's not. There is another discussion.
It's, yeah. Okay.
So majority of us, if you work with organizations, if you deliver presentation to companies, which model you will use? Enrollment. Because I will have the CEO here of the company, or I have the VP engineering of the company, or the training coach, the training responsible, or the HR responsible of the company. And then what I will do? I want to get them to say, we like that, give us a proposal. Or follow-up meeting. That's right. The tactics are different. The tools are different. Do you agree?
Yeah, okay.
So we've just let this the speak to sell one.
Yeah, and this is what's the question for you. What is a speak to sell?
Speak and sell. It's a game that you press and it tells you.
What does it mean, speak to sell?
Should be just a marketing tool. Like you are trying to promote a product or service you are trying to sell.
Okay. Any other suggestions on the third model, which is speak to sell?
Information to build trust.
Information to build trust. Speak to sell, usually it's in a keynote. If you are invited to a keynote or to a presentation where you cannot produce signing sheets at the end. So you want to stand there as the expert in the conference, in the workshop, in whatever they bring you in. So you want to speak, and after you finish your keynote speech, which you got paid for it between $5,000 to $20,000, in addition to accommodation and travel, what you want to do after this keynote?
Hang around.
You don't want to hang around. You want people to come and buy your service. So here we cannot produce a product, but there are some other techniques to collect information from the audience and initiate discussions to follow up. And then we can either get them into selling from the stage or using what they call it, a funnel, using a sequence of emails or whatever it is. Does it make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
So the difference between speak to sell and enrollment is you have a paper transaction more or less with the enrollment.
Yes.
Because someone books something.
Yep.
Whereby at the keynote, you can only initiate that, but it's a totally different day or meeting or after your keynote in one-on-one conversations to get onto your program or sell what you really want to sell.
Yes. I love to hear it from your voice, because if you can echo or mirror this concept with your own language, it means what?
I got it.
You got it. Moreover, everybody around the table will
If he gets it, then everybody should get it.
and everybody around the table will listen to different verbiage, different articulation about the same model or the same concept, and this will lead to affirmation of the information. That's right. So the question back to you guys, which one of those usually you do, or which one of those you want to do?
Sorry, you didn't talk about the selling from stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't. Like,
I'll explain it.
You spoke about speak to sell, about enrollment, but what about selling from stage? You
Sell and buy, they put their credit card and they sign up. And they sign up on this sheet.
So you sell as a speaker or just as a website?
You sell as a speaker or as a webinar. So at the end of the webinar, people will sell and buy and pay money.
Right away.
Yes.
Right away.
Enrollment, it's still, there is more process.
There is more process or there is one-on-one.
I see, okay. And speak to sell just for information.
Speak to sell, you stand as an expert and you want to, at the end of your keynote, which you are paid for it money, you still need to get engagement with their audience.
You get paid to speak in that case.
Yeah, I know.
So which one of those
Again, it depends on the nature
is
of your service.
I'm intrigued with your. I can help you make $10,000 to $20,000 sale easily,
Okay.
whatever that is.
That's what I'm doing.
Anybody object to that? Like,
there are some businesses they don't like. I know some businesses they maybe do it for organizations. So if you are working on organizations, you cannot sell from the stage. You will either speak to sell or enrollment. So you have to be soft in some areas. Where you deal with small business owners, when you deal with individuals for personal development or whatever, you need to do this. And many of us as experts, including myself 5 years ago, we did not visualize ourselves as a salespeople. Although we still have a partner, we still have people who love us. Even here, you are not fighting against each other, which means each one of you sold the next neighbor is he's good guy. He will be quiet. He's not harmful. That's right. So we are selling by nature, but we don't accept it. Experts usually don't accept they are salespeople. And majority of us as experts, we never been trained in sales because mommy will say 20, for me like 50 years ago or 40 years ago, will say, close the door, there's a salesman outside.
yeah.
That's right. Don't open the door, the salesman is outside. We have a scarcity of selling, which is interesting. However, we don't make money. Even if you work in a government job, you need to go to sell every day yourself, so your friends and your colleagues will not whisper behind your back so you don't get fired. That's right.
Yes.
Do you agree? So the question for you guys is, which one of these you would like to practice or do in the next 4 hours? So please go to page number 6 and circle the one which will be the favorite style for you. And we will go through the whole exercise. And whoever on the VIP side, I do have an enrollment with them, so we will meet again. Whoever on the other side as well can send me information. I will show you this on this workbook how you send me information, and we can validate this. So I'm not asking you to make decisions right now, but just try to focus which one of these you would like to do. Open discussion. If you want to discuss it, let me know.
No, straightforward.
So each one of you circled one of these in their workbook.
Can we do
I
two?
circle two.
It's great if you circle two, because I will go through, and please, at certain point you have to say, is this relevant or not relevant?
Sure.
Okay? Any questions?
Sorry, one thing you mentioned in the beginning, like there shouldn't be dollar discussion in your presentation. So, but if you're selling something from the stage,
Is selling from the stage, you will need to have a dollar discussion. So this is an excellent point. So if I'm selling from the stage, I will need to have a dollar discussion. If I'm speak to sell, can I say dollar discussions?
No.
But what can I ask for?
Email addresses.
Email address, phone number, buy my books. That's right.
They also sometimes allow you to, in all three cases, allow you to put a little booth at the back so you can have your products. Sometimes they'll allow you to do that.
Okay. So if they allow you to do that, you will ask them to go to the back of the stage and purchase something. And at this time, you have to understand there is no money in presentation and there is no money in selling books. The money is where is the service around the book and the presentation. And because we talk about a book, I have a question. Who's here have a book or a plan for a book? So for people who don't have plans for books or books, you have to understand that audience outside will only consider you as expert once you have your name on a book cover. That's right, sir?
Well, I haven't had that problem, but yeah, I see it a lot.
So
Yeah.
what can put you apart from your competitor is having a book. How often, how many books an American or in North America have been read per year? Like average reader, how many books they will read?
Well,
Yeah, you know. They read about 12 books. And the seniors, 65 plus, they're supposed to read a lot. That's why they read only 13 books. Not more than one book more than 12. So usually people on the average, they read one book per month. Which means that majority of the time your book actually will not be read other than you. When I used to be at university career, we used to have statistics which showed that every single paper published will have 0.75 or 0.72 reader, which means less than one reader, which means the authors of the paper themselves did not read it, which is interesting. So having a book with your own say, with your own voice about the problems you have, it gives you a credibility in a specific way. And if we keep going, you will find having a book as a tool, it's required, because if you want to speak to sell, how you can speak, what is the tool for them to buy your book? If you want to give away something for people to connect with you, you'll find the book. So we will talk about that in a few minutes. Any questions or any?
If you're going to write a book and put your name on it, it better be good.
I don't care as much as it brings me clients. This is the mindset I have.
No one's gonna read
you
it. So
say
who
no one's
cares?
gonna read it, who cares, right? But
I refer people to my book. So the models I will talk about, they are actually inside my book, The Guide to Win. And majority of this material will be coming in my book, 12 Streams of Income, because this is one of the stream of income for people is to go to stand and sell presentations.
Yeah.
So it's just the right time to do that. So before we wanna go to the hook and design it, we wanna understand the psychology of the audience. So for the audience, there are some triggers to trigger them to engage with you. Do you agree on that? So what are the 4 triggers for any audience to make a decision on?
Relevance.
Money.
People from the old, for people who attend this before, just want to give chance for the newcomer guys, okay? So she said money. So money is one trigger. What are the other triggers for people to make a decision?
Solution for their problems. No? Yes?
People will buy stuff they don't need
Sometimes.
all the time.
I do that all the time.
All the
I
time.
do that.
99.9%. The only stuff you need in life
I know.
is milk and eggs,
I know.
and people actually debate on that. Like, listen to this. There is a new practice right now where you can stand at sunrise and you can stand at sunset, and if you receive 45 minutes of energy from the sun during this period of 1 hour, you don't need to drink and don't need to eat. And there are some people selling this on the internet.
But it's true.
You see that? Oh my
And you
God!
saw it on the internet.
Yeah, well, it must be true.
That's why your skin's glowing.
So even people make like superficial stuff. So you can go ask for specific type of food. is this really a necessity? Is this a need?
That's what I meant. In a classic way, they consider the need is the necessities, like food, medicine, clothing, this. But now, when I say need, no, need is more than that. It's sometimes emotional needs, sometimes social status needs, that's sometimes security needs, psychological needs. So need not necessarily to be the basic necessities, which has to do with the food and medicine.
Okay.
So you can sell product has to do with your emotional requirements, maybe. So anything that
All decisions
we
are
as a human beings we require, you can sell it.
all decisions made based on an emotional triggers.
Yes. I
So
agree,
what
99%.
are the 4 emotional triggers available in the market? We talked about dollars. What are the other ones?
Time.
Time. Somebody else can give us another one?
Functional.
Nope.
That's rational. That's not.
Oh, actually, it's true because if you somebody deal about the details,
Yeah.
they may wanna know how it functions. So, but they don't know how they wanna detailed steps or detailed. Okay, madam, can you guess one here? We have one missing.
Maybe trends. No.
One missing. Relationship. People will buy because it makes money sense from a credible person. People will buy because it will save them time or it make it more efficient. People will buy because it will have a better relationship with themselves or with others. So all this nutrition service, they sell based on what? Relationship to your body, relationship to yourself. And people will buy because they understand the steps involved in the solution or the details. Here we have to understand the following. If we deal with engineers, project management, and this class of people, they are more into the steps.
The functionality, yeah.
That's right. If we deal with psyche, energy healers, transformation, life coaches, whatever it is in coaching life, you deal with
Emotion.
the relationship. You need to show them your service will be good for them. Your service will be good for their relevant tribes, and there is no threading there. If you deal with CEOs, you need to deliver on time, under budget. Okay? So these models are not DISC, are not Myers, are not bank, are not none of this stuff. This is just something very simple. Okay? Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if this makes sense, let's just pick up, if somebody can volunteer to give us a title for their presentation. Like now you have an idea. What's your presentation? So can you tell us title for your presentation? Any title. Somebody will start with title, but not from the... We want to just get the new guys engaged as well, that's right? Any suggested title for your presentation? What will be? Can somebody volunteer a title? Yes, sir.
Me? Sure. Sorry. Go ahead. Do you want?
I could.
Yeah.
Stop overpaying your taxes.
Okay. What's your title?
I was going like if I have a business to sell flowers.
Okay.
And I want to talk about it. So this will go around.
What's the title of the presentation? Will be?
Feel good with beautiful flowers.
Flower power.
What's that?
Flower power.
Maybe flower power, yeah. Flowers magic.
Power of flowers.
Okay, so if I look at the first title here, what triggers this title is doing?
Functional.
Dollar.
It's only on money, that's right? How many people are triggered by money? What's the percentage of the population triggered by money? you will be amazed that less than 28% of people triggered by money.
I was gonna go lower.
Okay? So this title,
Sorry, Dr. Weil. I have to stop you. Why? Because money, it's important to almost 99% of people.
no sir,
I know,
no
I know,
sir,
I know.
no sir, no sir.
And at least theoretically, why practically only 28%?
Because
Yeah.
a 40 years old nurse for 40 years will not consider the money, will consider the relationship. Because people in the relationship, they are 40% plus of the population will
So
make a
this is the
decision,
This is the age group talk now.
not the age group. These people will make decision based on relationship. If I offer you a program, no matter how cheap it is, or how cost effective, because we don't use the word cheap, we use cost effective, how cost effective, you will not buy it. If I ask you right now to give me $5, what's $5 for you? Nothing, but you will not buy it. So people will make decisions on money value based on perception of how money value. People will make decisions on relationship differently. If you go stand by the makeup booth, you'll find all of these nice looking ladies come across, they buy their makeup stuff and they walk away. And you can see many of them will keep coming and coming and coming and coming. And they never been satisfied because they want to have a better relationship with themselves and they are not satisfied. All hairdresser, all nutrition, all energy healers, and maybe 60% of my, or maybe 70% of my clients are in this area. They want to feel good about themselves, they want to feel good about others. If I stand in front of you and say, I will give you a parenting technique which will save you money on your, why you shake your head?
You're gonna get booted out.
That's right. But if I want to give you a parenting technique to raise an awesome child, an awesome kids, and be a good parent, and there's a $10,000, people will pay. Do you understand the concept?
Yeah.
So when you stand and say, stop overpaying taxes, you only trigger people who cares about how much money they pay. But if I want to trigger people who are as many as in these areas, I can use one word, which I can say now. What now will trigger?
Time.
Then if I say a system for who I will trigger? Process. And if I come and say you and your loved ones, who will trigger? This is just a very rough, quick example.
So can we deduce quickly that the people in the category R, they are not price conscious?
Yes, they are. The price comes at second or third
Second
stage.
okay.
The psychology research in this area demonstrated that each one of us will have about 3 of these.
2 to 3,
About 3. And the fourth one will be lagging. And it will come as something like also what we know that these are diverging. And these people are diverging. They don't like each other. Give you a quick example. If you have if you invite us to a very nice Jordanian Jordanian dinner, and somebody will come late because her kid will be sick or crying or uncomfort, and then I know the food you do, you cannot heat it. That's right. So what you will feel as a host, you will feel mad because these people have been outside for no reason for 1 hour, coming for 45 minutes, 1 hour late, and the food now is cold and you need to heat it. That's right. From these people perspective, their kids are more important and their comfort is more important. So you are mad is correct because you care about the time in this stage, and these people, they were correct to come late for the event. Yes, they were late to the event because of their loved ones. If you are an employer and you have an employee who is late because her or his son have a fever, and you have a project coming across, is the employee late right or wrong. From the employee perspective is right. From the dollar, the time, whatever else, maybe not that right. If you don't understand these concepts, you cannot stand on the stage and sell. Yes, sir.
So if a title, like for me, my title is going for the heart-centered people up in the R range because of the topics that I pick. And so is it even worth trying to add the other stuff in there?
If you are centered around here, you should try at least to have these two.
The dollar and the process.
Yes, at least.
Okay.
If not the fourth. So for me, my title for my signature presentation is stand out, not to blend in, triple your income in 6 months or less.
So you would use the tagline as well to capture the other one.
This is the whole slide. This is the whole presentation.
So your title, you told me my titles were too long on my thing.
You just split it into 2 lines.
Okay, so it's a big title and a tagline
Yep.
kind of thing. Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
Does it make sense? Don't get confused by if you are in the business where people are more detailed, because if you have people about more details, there will be more time, there will be more dollars involved. So if you want to talk about, I'm talking about strategic planning. It's a step-by-step strategic planning to achieve immediate results, to make more money or to increase the profit of the next quarter. People will listen to this presentation more than the principle of strategic planning.
It's got to be value to the client.
And the values to the clients are categorized into this particular 4. And if somebody has a 5th one, I would love to know it.
Mine's slightly different than that, but because it's more traditional maybe. Like
This is the easiest way
yeah.
to figure out your audience from the stage. Because remember, standing on the stage is a very intense, pressured thing. Like, I'm doing it since 1992. But however, if I have an event, my sleep pattern will change, my priority will change. It's always like that.
How do you judge, though, who your audience is? You're making assumptions, but you really don't know who's in the audience and what their triggers are.
Which I love it. So I will not use the word judge. Nothing personal, okay? I will not use the word judge. I will use the word know. How to know your audience. So how will I know my audience?
Depending on your niche.
Before, depending on your niche, the question will be is, what do you want to know about the audience? Is it important to know who is here engineer, who is here project management, who is here an accountant?
Oh yes. Of course.
No.
Why?
No. What's important is, who is here value more the time, value more the dollar, the time, the relationship, and the process. This is what you want to know.
I know, but you cannot arrive to this, in my opinion, without doing what they call it audience analysis. You need to know the audience, who are they, their age group, their professional backgrounds,
From the
cultural
stage,
background, so many things. Then you come to know
my friend,
which category of these they would be classified under.
from the stage, I do this in less than 15 seconds.
Really?
Because when you stand in front of 200-300 people in front of you, you don't have any time for demographic. You don't have what you mentioned. I call it the desk analysis.
Yeah.
I don't have time for desk. I'm standing in front of people. I'm going to meetup. Nothing wrong with meetup, but you have a good friend here who spent all of his time in meetup. Okay.
Not mentioning any names, but he's working. I'm sitting on the opposite side of the table.
If I go to a meetup or I go to an event, I should quickly figure out in 15 seconds which one of these are.
How? Teach us.
I will show you how, but just want to first agree that these are the triggers you need to know. I don't care they are bookkeeping or they are accounting or they are business advisor. What I care about is what are their triggers. So I can ask you one very simple question. If I give each one of you $100 million, what you will do with it? And let's just start. What you will do with $100 million?
figure out how I can go on it.
Okay, thank you very much. What you will do with
I know.
what you will do with $100 million?
I go on vacation. I
Thank you very much. What you will do with $100 million?
Give it away.
Thank you very much. You see, these people are relation. When she start to think about what you will do with $100 million,
Start a retreat for single parents.
you see, she is more here, and she used the word start, so she is here. When somebody giving $100 million and say, "I will take care of my parent," they are relationship.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody say, "I don't know," they are in process.
So when you said you can do audience analysis in 15 seconds, you meant to say that once you start the presentation, you will just pick a question, and depending on the feedback, you can tell, or you have to use a questionnaire form or whatever.
There is no questionnaire form. You can ask
Yeah,
questions.
Just ask question, and you see the response.
Yeah.
And based on that, you just have a rough idea what kind of your audience are.
Yes. And all questions in the more advanced levels of this presentation's structuring, all questions are meant to classify which one of this category these people are.
Mm-hmm.
So you would go on the stage and ask the question: if you had $100 million,
No,
would you take care
no,
of?
no,
in order
no.
to-
I will ask different questions. I will say, who is here is a business owner? Who is here is starting a business? Who is here has a good family relationship or in a good relationship? Who is here having kids? This kind of questions will trigger, because remember, rule number one, or one of the rules which we'll go to it after the break. One of the rules when you stand on the stage is you don't want your audience to participate. If you guys are in a selling environment for me, you will not be able to share any information. Because the minute you start to get somebody to share, what will happen? They will affirm the hesitation of somebody else or the objections of somebody else to join your program. And we'll talk about this in a great details in the third session.
Yeah, but can you repeat it? Even if we will talk about, can you repeat that? Repeat what you said.
You must not allow your audience to say anything or to participate into the presentation. Because by them participating into the presentation, they will affirm somebody else's objection, or somebody else may be deciding on the way to decide to sign up to your program. And by this question, what will happen? That's why, just as a tip right now, for now, when you stand and say somebody else has, you can ask any questions anytime, guys. But if we are going in the sequence, I will not answer it. So you can raise your hand, ask the question, what the response will be. Great question. Awesome. You know what? This is a question which will exactly answer before the end of the presentation. And if I don't answer your question, I will be available in the back to talk to me. Have you heard this response before?
Several times.
Why? Because these speakers are trained. These speakers are trained. They understand. If somebody will come and say, "Oh, what do you mean change management thing? You know, nobody heard about that." Everybody on the room will say what? "Oh, you know what? This guy's talking about aliens or what? Coming from the moon? Nobody heard about that. That's right." Or Mike will come and say, "You know what? We tried this change management consultant and they never work. Do you think really these things work?" This automatically diminish you from the stage. We are here in a safe environment, and I always feel safe in this room. So if anybody doesn't want to participate, let me know. But this is the question: is if you have somebody from the audience proposing a question, you say it's an awesome. You accept it, acknowledge it, and advance to your presentation.
Yeah.
You never try to get into an argument, because if the audience is a fool, he or she, it doesn't matter, it can make you look like a fool. So part of the controlling the communication inside the presentation is not to allow such a communication. And many of us, when they started, like when I start with 3-4 people in a room. I went up to 45, I went to 300, I went to 4,000. And I was selling products which not mine. which is a very interesting situation as well. So when you start in a smaller group, you have to be careful not to offend them, accept, acknowledge, and move. Yes, awesome, beautiful. You know what? This is the only question which nobody else asked, and this is the core question. This is the real question. You will see an answer for it. How many times in this presentation you've seen the answer during the material of your own question? How many times?
How many times what?
How many times did they give you the answer for your question within their presentation?
When they say that, that's a great
Most often.
question.
Most often, that's great.
Yeah, most often.
Because majority of the questions people will not, because the presentation will not address this question sometimes. Okay? Any questions for now?
So getting back to the audience thing, do you open it up with asking questions of your audience to raise their hand?
You can open
How
up.
many people are in this room are business owners?
Yeah, you can open. You can have at a certain point. You can have
15 seconds to determine that. So how do you achieve that?
By asking this question.
Asking the question.
By asking questions, or by do what we will do after the break, having a hook, and say, "Do you relate?" I have somebody who lost whatever. Do you relate? Who is here? Or yes and yes. There's another technique called yes or yes. That's right. So any of these techniques are ideas to what I call it, put yourself in their shoes. People say put yourself in their shoes. You'll be able to understand. They never explained what do you mean putting yourself in their shoes. Means understand their triggers. If you understand these triggers, what will happen? I can communicate. I can communicate very well. By the way, when I did this analysis and this changed my whole life, I would retire at 28 years old if I knew this stuff back then. This area is my competency with the patents I have, technology, companies, whatever I did in my life. And I'm a little bit here. And I always fail here. When I tell you 70% of my clients are relation-oriented, you can understand it, so you can work on yourself. Even my wife, I deal with her with this problem, but don't tell her, guys. It's very, very important to understand that people will make decisions and all decisions are correct. The decisions are wrong once you try to say it from different places. So, for example, somebody will come and say, I have a very wonderful life coaching program. That's right. Why people don't take it? Because you could not articulate to them the relevancy or how relevant inside their interest. Does it make sense to you guys? Mm-hmm. Okay, can we have a break for like 10 minutes and reconvene again?
Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.